topic of nervous. I sat like this with Maya Angelou.
Oh yeah.
And I felt that way. And she was like, everything I did in my life made it so you don't gotta you just be yourself in whatever room you in. And everybody who came before me had made it so I can be myself. And we ain't nothing but like an extension of our ancestors, for real. Like, so whenever you feel like you're alone, just know it's somebody who literally died so you can sit right here.
Right.
And you carry that shit with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, damn, you know what I mean?
So was she one of the most prominent people you met?
Absolutely. Shit, I met a couple people, man. Obama.
What?
Yeah.
I seen the interview when you spoke on Obama, and the sister Erica Gardner.
She went off on him. She went off on him. Rest in peace to her.
She passed?
Yeah, she had a heart attack.
Oh,
she literally died of a broken heart. So Erica Gardner, rest in peace to her. I met fucking Joe Biden's, whatever that nigga name. Like, yo, that with Dan, like, you know what I mean? Like, I interviewed a lot of these people. Like John Turturro was one of my big interviews. Fuck Rakim. I don't know, a lot of people, like a lot of people, a lot of cool people that I look up to. RZA, you know, Raekwon.
Raekwon, I would love to meet him.
Yeah, I interviewed Raekwon. That shit was fire. A lot of people. Got a chance to work with Chris Paul. Got a chance to work with Devin on the Steph Curry project. Got a chance to work with Carmelo. Got a chance to work with Wes Unseld Jr., who was the Wes Unseld's son. He's coaching the Wizards right now. A lot of people, and again, it get old. I mean, it don't get old like in a bad way, but it gets kind of like. So I'll say this. This is like the realest thing I can say. If I had my preference, I wouldn't really meet nobody because I don't really want to meet people. Like I want to fuck with the work.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I did something real cool, or I wrote a book, or made like a film or something that you really, really like, and then you see me on the street like, yo, I like your film. What if I'm having a bad day? Like, I just found out, you know what I'm saying? You know, my people's dead. Or I just found out, you know, like, my girl be stealing some goofy shit.
Right.
But be stealing from somewhere stupid, though, like the Gap. You know what I mean? I'm having a fucked up day.
Right.
And I might be like, you know, and I might come off like I'm not thankful. And then all of a sudden, all of this work I did, it looked crazy. Because or some people just ask, like, it's a professor, I ain't gonna say his name. I used to, you know, I was like, you know, looked up to him like, yo, he be doing, cause you know I'm a teacher,
right?
And he been killing the game for a minute. So he had like some big news, and this is at a gala this year. This year at a gala, and I'm just coming around the hallway. I bump into him, and I'm like, oh man, congratulations on something. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, bitch ass nigga. Like, and I'm looking, but I'm looking where I'm at. I'm at a gala.
Right.
$2,000 a plate gala. Right. Everybody in the room is doing something. Everybody's doing something. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And you gotta catch yourself. And I'm like, damn, I wish I never would have spoke to yo. Like, you know what I mean? Because. Yeah.
So is that East Baltimore coming up out of you at times, and you just gotta retain it? Like, no, I can't respond in that manner.
You get caught off guard because I also feel you get caught off guard, but then you catch yourself. I think a lot of times, I mean, when you're a good person just because you're a good person. You're not a good person for a trophy.
Right.
You're not a good person for an award. You're a good person because you're a good person. A lot of times you get caught up thinking that other people. Just genuinely good people with the most simple things. Right. I can do a simple favor, I'm gonna do it. If I can do a complex favor, I'm gonna try. You know what I'm saying? If I can't, I'm gonna keep it a bean with you. But you know, I think it just go back to I don't be trying to. I gotta do it for work. Like at this phase of my life right now, I'm the biggest, thing that I contribute the most. What I put the most time to is being an interviewer. Okay. So right now I'm an interviewer, so now I have to meet these people because I'm interviewing them.
So you have your own podcast as well?
I'm an editor for a magazine called Shalom.com. And like just last week, so we had a boatload of interviews come through. I just interviewed this guy, Justin Tinsley, who's the ESPN writer. He's really good. I interviewed the comedian Michael Shea, first black hair writer for Saturday Night Live. He has a great show on HBO Max called That Dad Michael Shea.
Oh yeah, I know the brother. Yeah,
the comedian Sam J. Yeah. Sam J is a brilliant comedian. She has a show on HBO called Pause. I don't know if you heard of Sam J. She's hilarious. But you know, these people are all respected, you know, at what they do. At the same time, like if you tap into the work, what's my man, Danny Trejo? I just interviewed Danny Trejo, who is a Mexican actor who come through the system, came up on the street. Mm-hmm. He always played like a Mexican gangster, but he ended up being like the most recognizable.
I know you talking the older guy.
It's Machete, something like that.
Yeah, I know you talking.
Yeah, the older guy, and it's like the same, you know. But we talking, you know, we speak the same language, even though we from like different worlds. Like, like when I interviewed Dapper Dan, you know, Dapper Dan, like, where you from? I'm from Baltimore. Where you get your clothes from? You was coming up. Oh, I went to Old Town Mall. Oh, I went to Diplomat Shop. I went to Deese, Miami Street, Total Mail. He told me my whole life story that I didn't know. Right. How he got tied in with them. When he was put out of the fashion industry in New York because he got raided for making a bootleg, and how he went broke and he lost everything, and he almost was about to be homeless until he started gambling. Cause he a master at shooting dice. He like one of them people that can he know how to lay, you know how to pad roll. You know what I'm saying? Right. So some shit to get you rocked down here.
Yes.
But
shake and roll.
But he know how to pad roll with the shaved dice and all that. He a slickster with the dice. Like he can, you know, he will bust a dice game. New York dice games is, you know, there's more money in New York. Yeah, so New York dice game is not crazy. It would be like a $30,000-$40,000 dice game at this particular time. He will bust a game like that. Just, you know what they call them saws. They call them up there. You're a saw. And he started doing that. And when he started doing that, he noticed that like the hip hop people was wearing their clothes big, but they wanted to wear like polo and shit. So he started making like the bootleg polo sport, oversized polo sport.
All that stuff L-Paul and them was wearing was bootleg. At that point in time, he kind of
yes and no. No. It was not from the factory. However, they was paying the same prices. Right. So those European designers, they weren't making clothes for that match street culture. Right. So what he was doing was he was
putting the
buying leather. He was buying leather, real leather. He was buying the highest quality ink and the highest quality machines to put the stitching on in the same way. Because he went to Africa and learned how to do this shit. Right. So he was doing it the same way. However, no, the actual designers, there was no streetwear. Like streetwear is normal now. There was no such thing as streetwear as far as in Europe and like the Louis Vuittons and the Fendis and all. They wasn't doing streetwear. So they got all that shit they got it from us. They got it from the street. But he was saying how he would make all these polo shits, and then he would go from New York all the way down to Chicago, because he stopped using heroin in Baltimore. He found recovery in Baltimore. Oh, okay. And he was like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah, you know Milton Tillman, yup, you know Nose, yup, you know, and I'm running them down. And
they got the Bells bombing, right?
Milton was known for the Bells bombing, but Milton used to own the nightclubs and he used to own some clothing stores too. So it's like he know all of the same people. And it's like with Danny Trejo, you speak this universal language, even though you in these wild different settings. You around people who don't really understand. Like, okay, I'm gonna study this craft. I'm gonna perform my job. I'm gonna do my job. But, however, it's a different kind of energy when you sit down with somebody like that.
So, do you think Baltimore lingo is kind of universal to the people you meet? Do everybody understand it, or is it the dress code, as far as you matching the street dress code and things like that? Do you think it kind of connects the dots with people once they have that conversation with you?
Baltimore is one of them cities where, like, you know the difference between somebody that's, you know, and this is my experience, is like, I know when you fucking around, and I know when you genuine. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know when somebody's genuine. Like, we just talk about Fats. If you ask Fats about me, if I ask Fats about you, he's gonna say something. He's gonna be like, oh yeah, well, he's such and such, like, and it's gonna be something that's connected to a genuine spirit. Whereas though, it's other people who are in Baltimore who they act like they from here, but they not really from here. They act like they connected to this whatever community, but they not really connected to no community, and they don't really got no intentions. Then it's some people that's not from. It's some people that's not from here who came here and did a lot of good stuff for people, and they came here and they connected and they locking in and they trying to do good stuff. So you got people and you speak that language with them. So you might connect. I might connect with a person that's from New Jersey that's down here trying to make something happen, and not really connect with a person that's from, like, you know what I'm saying, Harford County or some Annapolis or some shit. But they like, I'm from Baltimore and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. They ain't doing nothing but trying to elevate themselves and whatever they trying to do. So it's kind of like, that feeling when you get around somebody and you know what they about. And I think it's a Baltimore thing, but I think it's a universal thing. But the reason why I'm putting Baltimore to it, because Baltimore has become one of them cities where you can springboard your career and your platform. You can just springboard it off of acting like you connected to some type of struggle that you don't even fucking really know nothing about, for real.
Right. You think Freddie Gray's situation and all that kind of helped that?
I was just thinking that.
Absolutely. I think Freddie Gray, but before Freddie Gray, I think it was The Wire.
Right,
I think
true.
I think The Wire
opened the world up to us.
I think The Wire opened the world up, not just to Baltimore City, but to a certain way of thought.
Right.
It opened the world up to a way of thought. Politicians are out there doing whatever they do. Cops doing what they do. The streets doing what they do. But what does it look like when these places and these people intersect? What does it look like? How does the actions of one group affect the other group? And how does it prohibit progress? So a lot of people from urban areas seen themselves in it, and Baltimore became not just a city, it became like a TV show, like a big character. And people look at it like a character. So you got people like I literally know somebody that's never lived here a day in their life. They from like Florida. All the fuck she do was talk about Baltimore and yell at politicians and talk shit to politicians. The politicians be talking shit back to her. And I'll be like, y'all don't even know. She can't even vote for y'all. She don't even live here. She has no stake in the community, no stake in these people, no connection to none of this shit. And y'all going back and forth like she on fucking the Harford Road. You know what I'm saying? At the store. Like, no, she's all the way in another place. But she also gets money off of programming and writing and doing shit about Baltimore. It's become an easy grab, low hanging fruit. So that's what it has become.
It seems like everybody, like out of town, everybody I run into, if we so happen to get into the point of where you from, I'll be like Baltimore. They be like, oh, it's like the Wire down there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it definitely opened the world up to us. So where do you see the state of, where do you see Baltimore right now? Like, do you see any growth in it since all of those things happened? Is it getting worse in your eyes? Is there some things that's absent, some things that people need to do, or?
Do you think Baltimore is like crabs in a barrel?
No, I don't believe in crabs in a barrel.
You don't?
No, I don't believe in it. I don't think anybody can hold me back, even if they try. I also think that. Think that. I wrote this too. I wrote this in my first book. That a barrel is not a crab's natural habitat, so you can't really expect its actions to be what someone in their right mind. You're literally in a bucket of crabs. So maybe I'm pulling you back. And maybe I'm pulling you back because by the time crabs make it into a barrel, do you know what's on the other side of that barrel? A fucking steaming pot. Right. Kill you. So maybe I'm not holding you back. Maybe I'm trying to save you from what the fuck is on the other side of that bucket. So I definitely, I don't think it's crabs in a barrel. I think that people suffer from a scarcity complex. Some of my friends suffer from this complex, and I gotta check them on it sometimes because I don't think they even understand the strength and power of their own fears and trauma. They think that if they miss an opportunity, if somebody else gets it, then it's the end of the world. And it's like, no, nigga, it's limitless fucking opportunities, it's limitless lanes. A million gazillion people can do exactly what you do and be successful. And it's all love. It's not like You know, and I think that people suffer from a scarcity complex, so they think they gotta hold and hide and keep certain opportunities secrets because they're scared that they're not good enough or they're suffering from whatever they're suffering from. But for me, again, I don't pay attention to none of that shit. It's writers in Baltimore that are way more successful than me. It's writers in Baltimore that have way more money than me. It's writers in Baltimore that wouldn't think fucking teaching at a university, and that shit works for them, and that's not my business. My business is what have I been blessed with? Who shows me love? Who can I support? What can I do? How can I be the master of my own reality? That is where I'm at. I don't even think about it. The only way I'm in another nigga business is if they include me. I don't be just giving niggas random advice. I don't be fucking trying to act like I know everything, and I don't get mad when it's literally people in this town that got awards for shit that they don't actually do that I actually do. And guess what? That was for their journey. That shit is not my business. All I can do is be like, salute. So, but as far as the question you asked about the city, I don't know if I'm going to say it's worse or better. I'm going to say it's in a bad place because it's in the worst place it's been in a long time because resources are dumped into this city like fucking crazy.
Right.
And the people who fake like they from the city or who fake like they're connected to the people have mastered the language and the skill set to absorb them resources. And they're using that money off the backs of people it's meant for to fund their own lives and themselves. It's very, very ugly. It's very, very dangerous. And it's not just here. You see it with like some of the big news that came out about the Black Lives Matter organization, right? Like you see it like, yo, this money comes in and it's like, damn, there's so much money. Do I save the niggas or do I invest in black excellence?
Right.
I'll take black excellence for 200. You know what I mean? So like that is what's happening across the board. But it's really, really bad here because again, niggas don't be having nothing. Like people don't be having shit. Like they literally don't have nothing, and you want a piece of that. Like nigga, how I'm gonna take fucking 78% of your nothing? You know what I'm saying? With a straight face though. Like yo, let me get that.
I was saying with the Freddie Gray, why everybody was able to come to Penn North and do what they did because they didn't have nothing to do, and if you gave people opportunity and something, I think it's opportunity here, but more so in that self-entrepreneur way. But there's lack of resources to get you there. So like I'm a kitchen exhaust cleaner, and you would have to go to a trade school or something to learn it, which I went to YouTube University. But I just find that there's not enough people, because when I started, and I know a lot of brothers and sisters in business, they didn't give me any piece of that formula to get there, as if I make it, it's going to slow their growth down and things like that. So
that's what I'm saying. That's a lot of people. I always tell people don't let that discourage you. Don't let it discourage you because you just don't get caught up in it. Don't get caught up in it. It can be discouraging. It can be annoying, but don't get caught up in that shit because there will never be a shortage of people who think their opportunities are limited, especially if you're a black person in industries that don't necessarily normally have a lot of black people. Like publishing. Like, streets is dirty. The publishing world is fucking dirty. Like, people will slit your throat. Like there's motherfuckers who are, if I get a gun charge, they're gonna talk about that shit all day fucking long. They're gonna talk about that shit all night long.
I seen an interview where you was talking about the brother. I think you went to school with him or something, and they found the story on you. And he knew a friend that was in the news station or something, and he published it. And you can't be from this if you got that. And And it's like I don't even know this nigga. I don't even know him. Like I don't even know him. Like I don't know him. Like I literally seen him the other night, and I'm like, damn. I'm like I almost threw my career away because you had the audacity, right? And the worst thing I did, I seen him like shortly after that happened. I took the cell phone, I threw that shit on the roof, right? But like, and that was like me
just something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just we just fuck your night up. You know what I mean? But like, what I thought about was like that's crazy. Like, and again, the most important part, I don't know this nigga. So, and the reporter, and we had the card game. And we was down Douglas, right? We was down Douglas, and the reporter who wanted to write the little story, I'm like, yo, I do you one better. We playing cards tonight. Pull up.
Right.
We in Bethel Court. Right there by the Popeyes. Park by the Popeye, come get you. Pull up. Oh no, I got enough of my story. I'm good. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Real journalist.
Exactly.
Real got that.
Come on. So that's the type of time we on. And you know, again, like not that I don't know what his reality is now, but he doesn't look like he's happy. He doesn't look well. He doesn't look like he's living out his dreams. And and even though he did that evil thing to me, I'm not even going to wish evil on nobody. Like, I'm just not going to do it. Like, it takes too much energy. Like, a long time ago, my father told me, he was like, yo, you know, when you hate somebody, even they don't know or they don't care. So you just wasting energy.
Right.
You wasting that shit. Like, if you ain't going to act on it, let it go.
Right.
Let the shit go. And even if you act on it, what's the result? All right, boom. So I fuck you up. I bust his head, whatever. Boom. Now what? I get locked up. I sit down. I was going back to what I said. And so this is how, as far as the city, on the scene, whatever, the scene, art, whatever, you know, whatever. Motherfucker, if I get a gun charge or if I get in trouble or if I do some dumb shit, they want to talk about that shit all day. If I get a award, a trophy or a bestseller or some shit, crickets. You know what I'm saying? Crickets. And it's black people in Baltimore that's doing wild, good, positive shit. You don't hear nothing about it. But anytime some negative shit happen, they're gonna talk about it all day.
Why you think it's like that though? Even like with social media, like to post positivity and things of that nature, people don't get your likes, you don't get anything from it. But the moment you post some drama or even TV shows and stuff like that, what do you think? What do you think it's like that?
I think people feel more comfortable when they see other people fail because it makes them feel comfortable with their own shortcomings.
Right.
So if I see you doing bad, then I know, okay, doing bad is normal. So now I don't got to feel as bad about doing bad because you ain't got shit either. Right. It's kind of what it, and it's so weak. Like, it's the weakest shit. Like, I don't spread negative shit like that. Like, I just don't. I just don't. Like, and I don't even before I even knew how to articulate that, I still didn't just, like, I'm not going to be like, look what happened to such and such. Such and such is fucked up. They broke and hungry. Like, I'm not doing that dumb. That shit phony. Like, that's terrible, but that's also has never been my character. So, you know, one thing I will say about social media is the crazy thing about it is, like, people who I thought were, like, solid people, you see, like, they get on Twitter, them motherfuckers are unhinged. Like, they're some of the most terrible motherfuckers ever. Like, yo, the pandemic had made me cut off at least or stop fucking with or mute or block over 100 motherfuckers. Right. That's true. Yo, that is crazy. Yeah. And I don't think that would have happened if we wasn't locked in the house and forced to see what these motherfuckers be thinking. Right. It's crazy. Motherfuckers be crazy.
Yeah, they do, man. They do. So you feel like it kind of opened some people up. That lockdown got you an opportunity to see some people for who they were.
Did it help you do that?
I mean, I kind of stayed away from social media a little bit and focused on self. And I was like an essential worker, so I still kind of worked and moved around. So, but I heard that from a lot of people, like, you know, and with relationships, a lot of relationships broke and because they had that opportunity to be around each other and stuff like that.
Like,
so
damn, I don't really like this motherfucker.
Right. Because, you know, the average couple don't get an opportunity to spend that much time with each other. And once that happened, it's like y'all in here 24/7. So
yeah, we was having fun, dog. We was having fun. I had fun like a motherfucker over that lockdown shit. Like, I had a great time, man. Fucking, I read every day. My wife, I cooked. I made breakfast in the morning. She cooked every night. We don't really be fucking with lunch. Our daughter was a little infant, so we watched her little ass just grow. Right, within. You know, I spent all night writing. I wrote Carmelo book. I wrote the We Own the City episode. I wrote a marketing campaign for Devin Under Armour shit. I wrote another screenplay that is with my agent. That is kind of the basis of like the television show that I sold. Like, I just got so much fucking work done. was thinking
So
clear.
what was the point where you knew writing was your thing? I know you said the Sister Soldier book was handed to you and it kind of propelled the reading and stuff like that. But when did you get to the point like writing is something I love to do, that I'm talented at, and this is what I wanna do?
I think I realized I can do it in a class that I took up here. I took a I was about to go to Johns Hopkins to get for this history program that was like a 5-year PhD program where you come in undergraduate and you get a master's and a PhD, but I got denied from the program. They didn't let me in, right? So it's crazy because I gave a commencement there. Like I gave a commencement there this year at the School of Ed and shit, but they ain't let me in. And still had to finish college. So I had elective, and I took this poetry class. And the teacher was like, I got 2 rules. First week, no rhyming and no centering. So don't center it on a page and don't try to rhyme, right? So who wants to go, up first? So I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it because I don't give a fuck about no. I didn't care about no poetry. I'll do that shit. And of course, I rhymed. I said my shit. She wrote on my paper, you had 2 rules. She wrote, no. She said, I had to read in front of the class, and they was like laughing. And these are aspiring poets. So first I think we laughing because I'm having fun in class. Then I'm like, damn, they not laughing with me. These niggas laughing at me and shit. Like fuck that, right? So she gave my paper back, and she was like, there was only 2 rules, and you broke them both, right? Right? And I'm like, that's on brand. So I took that moment. And I had to wait like 3 weeks to go again. And in 3 weeks, like I started reading all this like shit, all this Paulo and Dunbar shit. I started reading like all this fucking Maya Angelou poems. Like I just started going in, like digging in because I just really don't fuck with me and laughed at. Came back when it was time for me, when I got the opportunity to read again, and I read a poem that was like one of the best poems that was written that semester. They actually ended up being published in like the school literary journal. That's how good it was. Like my second poem I ever wrote in my life. And then they started pulling me aside, like, you ever think about doing this? You can do this. And I'm like, nah, I don't know if I really want to do this. But they was like, no, we can get you a scholarship and yada yada yada. Like, you're really like, you got a gift. Like first it was like, did you write this? Right? But then I proved that I wrote it by writing other shit, and they was like, okay, yeah, now you get it. Right. And I wasn't really fucking with it. I went to I ended up going to Hopkins. I went to the School of Ed. I didn't get in the history program, but the history guy had recommended. He asked me. I asked him. I was like, yo, y'all ain't let me in. That's crazy, right? Like, because I just felt like I can talk my way in and shit. So I was like, let me just reach out to this nigga and just see what he talking about. And I went and met with him. And he was like, we had a conversation, and I'm just telling him like, who I am and what I'm about and what I'm trying to do. And he was like, if you could have put this in the application, you would have got in. He was like, but we only got 11 slots, because it was like a paid situation too. They pay you to research. So he was like, won't you wait, take a year off, and then go apply for the next year? And I'm like, my man, if I stop for a year, if I have a year of idle time, I might not make it back. And I think he felt that. So he was like, once you got good grades and stuff, once you go to the School of Ed. So I went to the School of Ed, and it was there where I took the memoir class, and it's writing again. So now it's in my face again. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna do this shit. I'm gonna do it.
Right, and it went off from that.
So question. So why do you write?